Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're about to get started. If we can find our seats, silence our cell phones, close the back, side, and side doors, I greatly appreciate it. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Monday, the 24th day of March in the year 2025. This is a City Council caucus meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 4 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 4:05 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this caucus? Councilperson Ridley is not here. Councilperson Prinzeri. Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Soleil is not here. Councilperson Solomon is not here. Councilperson Gilmore.
Present.
Councilperson DeGise.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman.
Here.
We have 6 council members in attendance at 4:05 p.m. On behalf of Council President Waterman and the members of the Municipal Council, in accordance with New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2025, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Friday, November 15, 2024. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, March 21st, 2025 at 12:08 p.m. to the Mayor, Municipal Council, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, and the newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Council President, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, President Waterman, members of council. I have 2 items before you today. First one is item 1027, resolution 25-214. Resolution will authorize a renewal of an open-end contract with Truchin Towing and Recovery for light and medium towing of city-owned vehicles for the DPW Automotive Services Division. Total amount of this contract is $23,363.98. with a temporary encumbrance of $5,000, which is available in the DPW Automotive Operating Account. Second item, Bob Baker from Public Safety IT had asked me to cover for him. He's tied up on the move from Bishop Street to the new building. Resolution 25-215, 10.28. Resolution will ratify the award of a contract to Gold Type Business Machines, GTBM, to provide maintenance and support services for the Department of Public Safety, LAN network, computers, and the fire Zetron notification system. Total amount of the contract is $362,880 with a temporary encumbrance of $20,000, which is available in the temporary public safety budget.
Thank you. Finance, Danny.
Good afternoon, Council President, Council members. For your consideration this afternoon, I have 3 items. The first item is resolution number 25-188, agenda number 10.1. It is a resolution authorizing an emergency temporary appropriation for calendar year 2025. Funding is necessary for the continuance of city services without any disruptions. Second item, resolution number 25-189, agenda number 10.2. It is a resolution authorizing calendar year 2024 appropriation reserve transfer for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Communication and Technology. And this request is for contractual obligations for Verizon, who has provided public safety with mobile voice and data services. And last but not least, resolution number 25-190, agenda number 10.3. It is a resolution authorizing calendar year 2024 appropriation reserve transfer for the Department of Public Works, Division of Buildings and Streets Maintenance. And this request is for plumbing, electrical, paint, HVAC, lumber, and pest control services. Any questions? Thank you.
Vivian?
Good afternoon, Council President and Council. I have one item to present today. Agenda number 10.1, resolution number 25-191. It's a resolution to award a competitive bid contract for Grant Right Management Corporation. This contract is for grant application, coordination, and compliance. The total contract is $396,000, and the temporary encumbrancy is for $25,000.
Which, you said 10 what?
10.4.
10.4.
Okay, okay.
Questions? Dr. Grant?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one more councilperson, Soleil, present at 4:10 PM. So we now have 7 council members present at 4:10. Back to you, Council President.
Stark?
What was the last name? Starks?
Yes, it's Starks. Hi.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council President, council members. My name is Markia. I have one item for your consideration. Item number 10.29, Resolution 25-216. Resolution providing local support for Kind Buds Jersey City LLC to operate a Class 5 retail cannabis business at 545 Nork Avenue, zip code 07306. This applicant submitted their application to the Cannabis Control Board on April 17th, 2023. They were approved by the Cannabis Control Board on November 13th, 2023, and they recently received Planning Board's approval on February 25th, 2025. Also, there is one other location that is under the 600 feet guidelines. However, this particular applicant did submit their application to the board before this other location received full municipal approval. Any questions?
Rich.
Questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I just want more Councilperson Solomon present at 4:12 PM. So we now have 8 council members at 4:12 PM.
Afternoon, Council President, members of City Council. One item for your consideration this evening, Resolution 25205, item number 10.18. This is a memorandum of understanding between Metropolitan Family Health Network and the Jersey City WIC Clinic. Metropolitan Family Health is a federally qualified health center with pediatrics, OBGYN services, dental, lab, and pharmacy, among others. This would be a full WIC on-site service. We'll have full WIC on-site certification service and same-day benefits. The idea being that we provide WIC services for more people who are in need of the service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Khadija?
Good evening, Council. I have 2 resolutions. The first item number is 10.21. This is Resolution 25208. This is a resolution authorizing the City of Jersey City to execute a data sharing and confidentiality agreement with Horizon Healthcare Services, doing business as Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield and Milliman Incorporation. And the purpose of this is for Milliman, which is no cost to the city. It's part of our services with our current medical and prescription broker to perform audits on our claims and make sure that dependents are on the plan. The ones that are on the plan are supposed to be on the plan.
Questions?
The next item is 10.22. This is Resolution 25209. This is a resolution authorizing the award of a professional services contract to New Pathway Counseling Services to provide counseling services in connection with the city's employee assistance program. It is a one-year contract. The total amount of the contract is not to exceed $74,150. And the contract is going to run from April 1st to March 30th of 2026. Any questions? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council President, council members. I have 4 items before you today. First item, Resolution 25-201, Agenda Item 1014, a resolution amending a contract with Comcast Corporation for monthly charges for data communication network services under the ESE NJ State Cooperative Contract for the Department of Administration Information Technology 3-year contract for totaling $171,957.60. Second item, Resolution 25-202, Agenda Item 10.15, a resolution ratifying an agreement with Network Management Solutions, Inc. for support of proprietary computer network hardware and software without public bidding for the Department of Administration Division of Information Technology, totaling $144,300 for the year. Third item, Resolution 25-203, Agenda Item 1016, a resolution authorizing an award for contract to Howard Technology Solutions for computer equipment under the NJ State Contract for the Department of Administration Division of Information Technology, totaling $45,075. Fourth and final item, Resolution 25-204, Agenda Item 1017, a resolution authorizing an award of a contract for CDWG Government, Inc. for the purchase of Dell servers, storages, equipment through the Educational Service Commission of New Jersey, formerly the Middlesex Regional Educational Service Commission, for the Department of Administration, Division of Information Technology, total cost of $342,000.
Can you say a little bit more about why this one is needed?
This is a complete upgrade of our servers and network storages. So we have about 70 physical and virtual machines that haven't been updated in over 10 years. So this is a revamp of our whole complete backbone.
Got it. And capital account this is from, do you know where was this, which capital ordinance?
The information technology.
Okay, so it's in the existing.
Yeah, it's in the existing
technology
budget.
capital account. Got it. Okay. And I apologize, does the ordinance detail exactly what we're getting in terms of technology back?
Yes, we got a full list of the equipment that comes through, servers, storages, all the way down to the cables that we will be plugging them in.
Got it. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council President and council members. This is item number 10-12, Resolution 25-199. Resolution authorizing the submission of an application to the New Jersey Urban Enterprise Zone Authority for Enterprise Zone Assistance Funds for Jersey City UEZ SID Service Support Phase 2 for a total amount of $1,750,000. This will be divided among the 6 SIDs. One SID did not submit the final report as was requested of them for future funding.
These received this. I know that's their concern. How will they receive?
She can't hear you, Council Press.
How will the SIDs receive it? Once we approve it, explain to them the process, because I know they're watching.
Sure. So once we submit the application to the state, it goes on a urban enterprise zone meeting agenda. They approve it. Once they approve it, it goes through the governor's veto period. After the governor's veto period, they release the funds to the city, which will establish the grant account, and then we could draw down on those funds. So once that account is set up, we'll inform the SIDs to submit their vouchers and the eligible uses for staffing, beautification, and marketing. We could either pay the vendors directly for the approved time period, or we could reimburse them if they incurred expenses within the approved time period.
And, so you said it's over $1 million and it's six SIDs. Are the funds normally dispersed equally or?
They usually, yes, they're dispersed equally. But according to the last, the recommendations to the strategic plan, in the future, we're going to have to come up with an equity formula.
Yes.
Because that was some of the feedback for the plan, that they wanted an equity formula for each SID to get a certain amount
Yes, because
instead of
I noticed
evenly spread apart.
some SIDs are able to generate more funds than.
Exactly. They all have different budgets. They all
Yes.
have different needs. They all have different, each part of the city is different.
Okay.
So that was taken into consideration for the plan. And the reason we're doing this now is not to jeopardize the SIDs now while we come up with that. That's going to take time for us to develop internally, for all the to meet with the council, for them all to agree on what that equity formula is going to look like.
So are we
This
confident?
will be most likely the last year.
Okay, of
We
this.
all get equal amounts.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How long do you think this process would take in order for them to just begin to draw down off the money? Would it start in June?
It's
Do you think?
approved
July?
Wednesday. I could submit it by the end of the week. Give me Monday the latest.
Okay.
But because of how the state goes, it's 45 days from when you submit it. So we're hoping, and if that's no questions, it'll go on the May agenda, latest June agenda.
State.
So we're hoping that'll be the schedule. They'll release the funds, and then most likely July, they could start drawing down. It'll also be from the date the state approves it.
All right.
Unfortunately, we can't retro.
Right, you can't. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan?
Good afternoon, Council. Brian Rance with Community Development. I have 4 resolutions for your consideration. The first one is Agenda Item 10.8, Resolution 25-5, the resolution of the Municipal Council recognizing April 21st through April 2025 as National Community Development Week. 1986, the National.
Ryan, put your mic up so we can hear you.
Sorry about that. The National Community Development Association created the NCDA Development Week to raise awareness for the benefits that Community Development Block Grant and HOPE provide communities. This year, the week is April 21st through April 2025. As you all know, CDBG and HOME are both utilized to help create sustainable and affordable environments. And we like to utilize that money for affordable housing, infrastructure investments. And we're hoping that April 25th, April 25th will be recognized as National Community Development Week.
Next one.
The second is a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City to authorize the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 396 Holiday Street. On June 25th, 1993, a constituent executed a mortgage and note in favor of the City of Jersey City to secure the city's loan of $52,000 under the Home Investment Partnerships Program. The owner now intends to sell the property. Per the terms of the mortgage, the total amount of $62,916.31 is due owing to discharge the mortgage. The city will execute the discharge upon receipt of the funds.
Well, I just have one question, not necessarily on that. It's come to my attention that some people that's in the 95.5 programs are actually in the state and the city. But the state supersedes us, correct?
Correct.
So ultimately it will be in the state.
Yeah, in the event, so some of the mortgage we're finding, there's a city mortgage and then a state rider. In the event there's a state rider, DCD is just agreeing that that's a state mortgage. In this instance, there's only a city mortgage, so
Okay.
being that this is a part of this.
All right.
Okay, agenda item 10.10, a resolution 25-197, a resolution of the Municipal Council reprogramming funding and awarding program contracts under the Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS and HIV program for program year 2024. Pursuant to resolution 2527, approved on January 15, 2025, the city reserved approximately $1,515,105 for future allocation. The City of Jersey City DCD issued a request for proposals We received a proposal from Northeast New Jersey Legal Services to provide supportive services to eligible clientele. We've scored the proposal and we recommend awarding them $50,000. Yeah, with your permission.
Question? Next one, Brian.
Okay, and the final one is agenda item 1011, resolution 25-98. It's a resolution authorizing the award of a competitively bid contract to Associated Appraisal Group to provide real estate appraisal services to the Division of Community Development. By resolution 16706, adopted in 2016, the City Council authorized the use of competitive contracting to procure an appraisal and valuation consultant. On October 31st, 2024, solicited proposals for this real estate appraisal contract. We received 5 proposals. A committee was appointed by the business administrator to review and analyze these proposals and to create a report for your consideration. The committee agreed to award a contract to Associated Appraisals for $50,000. Funds are in CDBG admin account, and we're asking your permission to award the contract.
Question?
Is this for appraisal services when people are looking to sell or transfer their property?
Yeah, their services will be used in 2 different ways, primarily to help us retroactively appraise a lot of the 95.5 properties from when the restricted period ended. Currently, we're using the tax ratio and the appraised value at the time. That's an accurate method, but using an appraiser is even more accurate. And in the event that there's any litigation, the appraiser can provide us with expert witness services. And then second, in the event that we want to use CDBG money to acquire property so we can get a good return on the investment, we can utilize their services to properly appraise these properties, which could be used for affordable housing, public facility construction, whatever you all would prefer.
And Brian, John, the other one, did you look it up? Did you get a chance to look it up? 269. I know it's one of those time elapsed. What's the names?
Yeah, it's 69 Stegman.
Yes.
Yeah, so for that one on December 14th, 2006, 2 constituents took out a loan to secure funding under the home ownership repair program. The mortgage had a 10-year restricted period. 10 years has passed since 2006. There's no repayment. So
there's
just
no-
asking your permission to discharge the mortgage.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
No problem. Thank you for your time, council.
James, Carol, Jimmy.
Good afternoon, Council President. Good afternoon, council members. I have 2 items on for today. First one is Resolution 25-206, agenda number 10.19. It's a resolution ratifying the renewals for Unicorn HRO LLC for the payroll and human resources services for the departments of finance and my office, human resources. This is the term of the contract is a 1-year renewal effective March 2025. The total cost of the renewal contract is $400,100. Second item I have, Resolution 20-207, Agenda Item 10.20. It's a resolution ratifying the award of professional services contract to the Institute for Forensic Psychology, PC. This is a contract award on the amount of $51,000 to perform psychological evaluations of up to 30 civilian employees at a cost of $1,500 for each evaluation, if ratified by the council.
What is the psychological evaluation for civilians employee fitness? What the fitness for them to do the job?
It's a fitness for duty evaluation. So if somebody presents with an issue that we feel there's 2 lanes, one could be a medical, for example, somebody can't physically do the job. Then there's other times, unfortunately, that people have present with psychological issues. And then we have to have them evaluated to proceed.
Okay.
Question? Thank you.
George, I have 3.16. I don't have it on the agenda. Is there a copy somewhere?
3.16.
John?
Good evening, Council President, council members. George Garcia here from Foley. I'm here on behalf of the applicant for agenda item 3.16, ordinance 25044. Client is requesting,
Wait a minute, Sean, did y'all read that? It's not on our agenda, and I know John was gonna.
Do you-
Sean,
Do you have, you may not have the most recent copy. Do we have any more copies in the back there, Danny, of the agenda? If any council members have their tablet, if they can just share it with fellow council members, you can actually view the ordinance because it is on the agenda.
It's gonna, okay.
I could read it for the record. It's an ordinance approving a 30-year tax exemption to JHRC Senior Housing LLC concerning 259 Van Nostrand Avenue, Block 25402, Lot 19, pursuant to the New Jersey Mortgage Housing and Finance Law of 1983, as amended and supplemented NJSA 54:14K1 at SEC, and the rules promulgated thereunder NJAC 5:80-1 at SEC.
Questions?
What's 250, is that just a senior home, 259?
Late item.
I didn't.
What's the establishment?
Can you repeat the question, Councilman?
259, what is?
It's a senior citizen building.
Oh,
So just to give the council a backdrop, this building was built in 1995. It's been occupied by low-income senior residents for almost 25 years. My client is now seeking to do extensive rehabs through the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency program that allows such rehabs. Of course, in connection with HMFA financing, the HMFA is requesting or requiring a long-term exemption under the HMFA law. So this is again, it's 67 units, fully affordable to senior citizens with below 60% of AMI.
oh, this is the building that had the issue with the elevator.
That's what I'm not sure about the elevator issue, but that's part of the,
Yeah, they had an issue with the elevators. Seniors wasn't able to go to dialysis. Seniors weren't able to go shopping. Seniors weren't able to come off of their floor because the elevator was down for some time.
I think that's the purpose of this program. As part of the rehab, it's to, if the council would mind, the approval shall include replacement of the roof, new windows, exterior updates, new and efficient heating and cooling systems, exterior site plan upgrades, elevator modernization, new landscape, streetscape appointments, unit upgrades include new kitchens, energy efficient updates, new electrical outlets, painting, and LED lighting, among other things that the financing will provide. It's a $24 million rehab that's being funded by low-income housing tax credits, New Jersey preservation funding, and an NJHMFA mortgage.
So you guys are gonna rectify the elevator situation?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Are the renovations being done by unions?
I'm not sure. I could find that out for you.
I would like to know that before I vote on Wednesday.
Okay.
If you could
Well-
email that quicker, because that will determine. Are you changing any of the housing aspects, like adding or taking away any of the units?
No, council person. It's a full rehab of the existing 67 units, just to provide all modern apartments for the seniors.
And when you're doing the rehab, they don't have to move out? This is kind of like, how's that process gonna look?
I could get you a logistics plan, but they're not going to move them around. I'm sure they're going to figure out ways to accommodate them, because in this building in particular, as you're aware, some of the other council people are aware, these residents have been there for, close to 20 years, so it's a long time.
Okay.
We met and we discussed, and there are a lot of renovations that now need to be done in that building. It's, you know, one of our nice senior buildings, but there are some things that definitely need some upgrades now.
Okay, Council President, council members, I appreciate your consideration. Take care.
Just wanted for the record, mark Councilperson Ridley present at 4:33 PM. So we now have all 9 council members present.
Hello, council members. I have 7 items on behalf of my department today, starting with the ordinances, which are all for the Division of Traffic Engineering. The first one is agenda item 3.6, ordinance 25-034. This is an ordinance supplementing chapter 332 of the municipal code and establishing various reserved parking spaces at locations throughout the city.
What number you said that was, Parker?
Agenda item 3.6.
Okay, all right. I got it.
The next one is agenda item 3.7. This is an ordinance supplementing chapter 332. And this is removing a parking space on Enos Place in order to establish a better residential drop-off pickup area for the senior center that's located at Enos and SIP. This we worked on by request of and in partnership with Councilman Boggiano's office.
Rich.
This, Councilman, this is that one parking space that we're removing on Enos Place in order to make it easier for the seniors to be able to be dropped off from their bus. The next one is agenda item 3.8, ordinance 25-036. This is also an ordinance supplementing chapter 332, and this would be for the conversion of Gates Avenue between Ocean and Old Bergen by request of Councilwoman Ridley's office, although I believe, Councilwoman, you would like to remove this item? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, and then moving on to resolutions. The first one is agenda item 10.23, resolution 25-210. This is a resolution authorizing the city of Jersey City to apply for and accept grant funding through the Hudson County Open Space Trust Fund. And this is for Bayside Park in the amount of $750,000, which would help supplement the work that the city already has planned at Bayside Park for both park improvements and potentially to supplement the community center work. Okay, the next 2 are for the same thing. It's applications to the Hudson County Open Space Trust Fund for park projects. However, we would like to remove 10.24 from the agenda. This is one that we applied for Courthouse Park. However, we were informed by the county that this specific project would not be moving forward to the next round of applications. So we would no longer need a resolution for this application of a grant. And then the next one, 10.25, is for, again, Hudson County Open Space Trust Fund. We're applying for $750,000 for Arlington Park improvements. And Councilman, this would help supplement the work that we already have planned at Arlington Park in the first phase. Okay. Finally, agenda item 10.26, resolution 25-213. This is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Mark Construction. And this is for to help the Jersey City Public Safety Department Division of Fire in the rehab of the building at Halliday Street for the Engine 10 project. This is a project that we've all been in touch with over the last year several times. So this would be to bring on the contractor who would perform the work at that site.
Walker, when you get a chance, can you give me more information? Call me and give me more information on 1024 and what the county said.
1024. That's the Courthouse Park project?
Yeah,
Yes,
give me a call, please.
you got it.
Thank you.
That's the one we're removing though, correct?
Hey Barker, can you just explain to me, just how the process go as it relates to getting these, no parking signs for construction sites? Because I'm seeing a lot of times, as it relates to permits, that one department is issuing permits, the other department don't know about it. They got a partial permit. So just with respect to the role that your office play in it, if you could just explain how that process look and if there's a check and balance mechanism in which you communicate with, I guess it would be public safety and code enforcement.
So the Department of Infrastructure includes within it the Division of Traffic Engineering. In the municipal code, the authority is given to the city engineer and the city traffic engineer to make determinations on anything that affects the public right of way in terms of temporarily or permanently closing or modifying the public right of way. So that would include public sidewalks, parking lanes, and streets. When projects are moving forward, whether they're for city work, utility work, or private work, the construction jobs you're mentioning, everyone is required to obtain a permit from the Division of Traffic Engineering in order to close any portion of the public right of way for any period of time. So for construction jobs, if they're private construction jobs, once that applicant has pulled all of their necessary permits related to construction from the building department, they would then come to our department and get permits for the closure of sidewalk, parking lane, street, whatever it is they need. And if it's a long-term or a large closure, we require them to present what they need on site at a monthly permit coordination meeting that we have. And then if all of the parties there are in agreement that it's a reasonable request, then they are issued a permit from my department. Then they take that permit and take it to Public Safety's parking division, which is where they pay for and get their no parking signs, which is what they post on the street for enforcement or to keep areas clear. So we are only involved in the actual permitting of the work, not in the issuing of the no parking signs that they have to post in order to be enforceable.
Okay.
And we are in constant communication with Public Safety's traffic unit that they have. There are 2 lieutenants who oversee that work for both parking enforcement and traffic enforcement. And on a daily basis, we're communicating with them on projects throughout the city.
Okay, I mean, I don't know like where the lapse or miscommunication at, but there's been like several projects that are actually doing construction. They have permits to do construction, but they're blocking the public right of way and they don't have signs. And it's just a whole bunch going on with construction in Jersey City. That's one, the safety aspect is just out of control. I guess sometimes these developers think that's only a quick drop off. So they'll just put a cone out and, you know, you don't have no one directing traffic on either side. And in their mind, which is, I mean, it's negligence, but it's logical thinking that you're just going to take these 3 or 4 loads off and then you're going to get it on the site.
Councilman, until last year, the city code allowed people to temporarily close off a lane of travel if they needed to do some work, if it took less than 30 minutes. We finally corrected that because we agree with you. No one should be able to close any portion of the public right of way without permits. The second thing I would say is if you're noticing that every job site is required to have their permit on hand and visible so that if any enforcement officials go to that site, they should be able to present that. And on the permit, it lists exactly what they're allowed to do. And then based on that, the enforcement official can issue a violation or a summons, whatever is appropriate. Because our purview is limited to just issuing the permits, we have no enforcement ability. Usually all my department could do is go out on site and observe and then report back. But you can always contact the Quality of Life Task Force or Public Safety and ask them to go to a site and make sure they're in compliance with their permit. That's what we do on a daily basis.
Yes. No, I mean, they've been very responsive with going to sites, but you know what I mean? The issue is that like the damage has been done because a lot of times I just like, we just assume that these people have these permits to do this stuff until you may have someone who have the wherewithal to say, hey, no, this doesn't look, I don't think they're supposed to be blocking the street off without the MUA flaggers, right? But so by the time we get called, it may be a half a day, which have interfered with the whole, I'm just having so much problem with construction, like it's the
Well,
number one concern.
Construction
Wait,
sites,
okay.
please let me know.
Oh.
Thank you. Bob.
Thank you.
Evening, Council President, Council. Good to see everybody. I'm here for Agenda 10.13, Resolution 25-200. This is a resolution authorizing a renewal of the open-end contract with Ascape Landscaping Construction Corp. For the maintenance of the irrigation and numerous city-owned facilities for the Department of Recreation and Youth Development, the Division of Park Maintenance.
Is this for the splash pads? Or are you talking about the water
Yeah,
fountains?
this one's separate from the splash pads. This is for all the water fountains.
Okay.
I attached a list to all the different ones that are there.
They be able to fix the fountain over at Riverview?
Water fountain?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's on here, so it gets a little complex if we have to replace it, but it is on here, so.
Okay.
We also have Bayside that we have to work on.
That was going to be my question. Does this assist with Bayside?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Bayside every time we fix it, it gets damaged again, so we're working on a little project with that and see where we go.
Okay.
Also, Keith, with regards to Berry Lane and the splash pad, I know like every year in the beginning, for some reason we get ourselves in trouble. Are we on pace to make sure we have a?
We are. That is a priority. I don't want the same thing happen again. They redid the pump in there, so we're gonna check that one out as soon as possible, as soon as the water gets turned on from there.
Thank you.
Councilman.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith.
No problem. Have a good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
First, I'd like to volunteer my time services for the psychological evaluation. Um, I'm gonna probably verify some things I already know. All right, so I am 3.15 on the agenda, ordinance 25043, and that is the Chapel Ave Industrial Park redevelopment plan, and this is to allow billboards. So the billboards will be allowed along the Turnpike extension along 78, just within this plan, which is on the west side of the extension. There are some standards within the plan, 100 feet max. It's going to look almost identical to the one that's already there. And most of those kind of standards that really regulate safety are regulated by the NJDOT. So that is really kind of it in a nutshell. I can go through more details if you'd like, or.
Questions?
So it allows the billboards and what is allowed on both private and public land?
Yes.
Got it. And is there like the spacing between them?
So it's allowed anywhere along the Turnpike extension, so it's not going to be in the entirety of the plan. The distance, I believe, is 200 feet, and that's set by NJDOT.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Righty. On to our first readings. So just to confirm with the BA, before I read them into the record, I believe we are removing items 3.1, 3.3, and 3.8. That was the one Barker had said.
Yeah. So, council, 3.1 and 3.3. 3.1, we want to put together a more comprehensive proposal to the council, identifying where the funds are coming from and potential areas we could use them. We labeled it engineering and building improvements, but we want to then outline what buildings need what work and prioritize. And 3.3, I just want to make sure that the fire chief is available to present that. So we're just going to carry it to the next meeting.
3.8 was the Director Patel that will withdraw that one as well. Okay. So with that being said, item 3.2, City Ordinance 25-030 is a franchise ordinance granting permission to Liberty Harbor North Partners LLC, its successors and assigns to allow decorative pilasters, 4-foot bay windows, and a 10-foot awning to encroach onto the public right-of-way at Block 15907, Lot 3, qualifier C0002. Item 3.
Sorry, can,
Sure.
What's the actual address of that?
Does anybody have the ordinance open on the computer? Oh, we have the attorney here. There you go. I'm sorry, that's even better. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
The Caucus Law Firm on behalf of the petitioner. The address is 20 South Cove.
20
South Cove.
Is this in Port Liberté?
This is in the Liberty Harbor North. It's right next to the Vantage Towers.
Next to the Vantage Towers.
It's right next to it.
That's 20 Cove.
South Cove, yes. Right on Marin, right off Marin.
Did we formally name that street?
I don't know who named it, but it's, we were advised by the tax assessor's office that the formal identification is 20 South Cove.
Got it. Okay, fair enough. I know where it is now. And sorry, which building is this in relation to?
This is the vacant piece of lot right next to the Vantage. We were here previously.
Got it. So this is in relation to the Trams Hotel site that we rezoned to be possibly residential?
That's correct.
Got it. Okay. And so what are you asking for in this ordinance?
We appeared, since it got rezoned to permit residential, we appeared before the planning board with a site plan application to allow for a 30-story mixed-use building. As part of the application, we asked for decorative columns, 4-foot bay windows, and a 10-foot awning. Those are all items that are permitted and recommended under the Liberty Harbor North redevelopment plan. So the planning board granted the application, but it doesn't have authority to grant these items because they fall under the Liberty Harbor North redevelopment plan. So what we have to do is we're now coming before this body asking for a franchise ordinance to permit those 3 items.
Planning board approved everything.
It's just south of the Boys Club. The Boys Club is here. That's the Boys Club.
This is a site that there was, yes, it was supposed to be a hotel
Yes.
and then, oh,
Yeah, it's that lot here.
Questions?
My questions are answered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Sean.
Okay, item 3.3 will be withdrawn. Item 3.4, City Ordinance 25-032 is an ordinance amending Chapter 296, Street Sidewalks and Public Rights of Way, Article 2, Closure of Public Right of Way of the Jersey City Code, requiring council approval for applications for street closures requiring the closing of 10 city blocks for 5 hours or more. I believe Councilperson Solomon had made some amendments before the meeting that he's going to go over with the council.
There are a couple of language changes in the ordinance based on the recommendation of Director Patel that was reviewed by Director Goodman. And basically the purpose of this is when we have events that in essence shut down portions of the city for more than in essence half a day, the impacts are pretty substantial. And I have had major issues with a couple of them. We had the half marathon in September where there just was both almost no outreach by the managers of that marathon in advance to let people know. So we had people stuck in traffic in really, really bad ways. And then not particularly any good follow-up after it happened. And then obviously we're all aware of the issue with the marathon this time being scheduled on Palm Sunday. And so my thought is that we just, for these major events, we create a council vote so that those organizers have to come brief us and have to come make sure that we're, comfortable with all their plans. I think these events are good for the city, but I think we've had enough issues now that I just don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And then the language changes we made were just based on recommendations of the directors to make sure it was very clear what we were talking about. So we wouldn't accidentally hit, other types of events. So obviously it doesn't just cover marathons, but it covers anything where the streets are closed for the whole day. So parades are not covered by it because they're rolling, so you're covered by an hour or two, but it's that 5-hour full closure.
So, who will be responsible for the notices? Because that's the major issue.
So basically, the event organizers, there's nothing in this that demands the event organizers do a notice, but basically the idea would be they would have to come to the council and explain how they're doing their noticing. So if we didn't feel like they were doing a good job, we could, basically deny them a permit to do the event.
I don't.
Yeah.
I just, we obviously got a lot of calls on the Palm Sunday closure, and at this point I said, well, it's not in my hands. There's really nothing, we have any authority over. So it's trying to make sure that we're all thinking and working together.
I feel like this could be a double-edged sword over here, Is the effective date for this year? Because then, let's say there's, an event that happens, the Muslims have their parade, and then people, start protesting the council to come before here, and they're like, we don't want it down our block.
It only it only covers events that require a 5-hour closure of 10 or more city blocks. That doesn't.
It has to be, so it has to meet both. It says 10 or more continued blocks, or in part 5, can it be both 10?
It has to be
10 or more blocks and 5 hours.
Correct. That is the intention. So double check.
Or
we can double check the language, but that is the intention. Yes, it's both.
Okay.
Can change that now.
Just because I also think we have all this diversity. I think the council, this is great that we want to do it, but also it could be a double-edged sword where, God knows what happens, and then someone wants to shut down an event or tells them they can't do it, or a parade or whatever. Yeah, and I don't want the council to have to hold that bag future councils. That's all. I'm just thinking about what we're not thinking about.
I don't think that it's meant to impede people's freedom of speech or to assemble. It's more on getting the approval for the correct route or placement of the block streets, and also to inform the community. That's how I'm taking Councilman Solomon.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Councilwoman. And I agree. Thank you. We'll make sure the language is right. But so the point is not to have that if it's most of the 99.9% of events in Jersey City aren't going to be covered on this. It's just the ones that really do shut down the portion of the city for half a day.
Can it be content neutral? Can we include that in there, or
Sure, yeah.
is that included in there?
It has to be, yes.
Okay, just making sure, because
So what you will adjust it, you'll amend it, so we'll know exactly.
Sure, yeah, it's on the first read, so if we want to change that and put and instead of or, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we'll just make that change. When I go downstairs, I'll make the change from and to or.
I just want to make sure, we're looking out for everybody, because God knows.
Or to and, right? Sorry.
Oh, it's about the parade.
I had it
Other than that, I just had concerns, but.
I just, one other question, knowing that we have 2 meetings a month, knowing that there's a whole DocuSign process, knowing that in the summertime, we only meet once a month. Is that going to be baked into the new schedule through DocuSign for when it comes to city council? Is it? Because I can also see where there might be some situations where the timeline is shortened because the paperwork getting in the certain process. I know it's supposed to be X number of months. It is not always that. So I just want to make sure too, that if you're doing these permits and it has to come to us for vote, where are we in the process?
Sure. we can talk to Director Goodman about specific on the DocuSign piece, but I do think part of it is to incentivize the organizers. If you have an event that is this impactful on the city, that you are reaching out.
I do not. I
Way
do
in
not
advance.
disagree, but if we're talking about all scenarios here, and if somebody's also done big events,
Yeah.
knowing how the process goes like that, I just want to make sure that everything is really
Right.
talked through and that the timing isn't going to inadvertently come back and bite the council in the butt, essentially.
Yep, understood. Well, we will talk to Director Goodman about that specifically.
Oh, no, listen, we better cover everything. All right.
Yeah. That's why I was thinking,
I
get it.
Yeah.
there are a few events.
Sure.
Okay, item 3.5, City Ordinance 25-033 is an ordinance amending Chapter 321 of the Municipal Code of the City of Jersey City. Items 3.6 through 3.8 were touched on earlier. 3.8 is going to be withdrawn. Item 3.9, City Ordinance 25-037 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to renew the lease with Brunswick Community Gardens, also known as Jersey City Community Gardening, Inc., for the use of Block 9905, Lots 8 and 9, more commonly known as 174, 176 Brunswick Street, for a community garden.
Sorry, Sean, can I just, was it for 3.5, is anyone able to speak on 3.5?
So this was one that we tabled a couple months ago because there were some changes that were being made that were arguably substantive. As I recall correctly, the main one was there was a notification requirement that was ground to an actual measured distance, and this just changes it to the neighboring property owners. Just a couple tweaks like that. Otherwise, it's exactly the same.
And so if you want to remove a tree on private property, would just walk me through the process that this proposes?
You need to get a permit.
You have to get a permit?
Yeah, that's per new DEP regulations.
Sure. And then so you basically apply to the forester and you have to notice you're the neighboring lots, basically?
Correct.
And then if in the situation of emergency, what's the sort of process at that point?
For an emergency, you do not need to get a permit.
Okay. Understood. All right. Thank you.
Okay, 3.9 through 3.12 are all community gardens, so if you don't mind me just saying the ordinance number and the location, it's 25-038, item 3.10 for community garden located at 185 Dwight Street. Next.
A question for the law department regarding community gardens. Do we have to designate a certain nonprofit to do Adopt a Lot, or can we just designate it as a community garden? What's the process?
These are applications made by community groups for vacant city land. So I don't think there's any requirement that we have to do any portion or anything like that. But our code requires them to get a lease that's adopted by the council on a yearly basis.
Okay, if they want to adopt a lot.
Correct. If they want to adopt a lot and use it as a garden. Yeah.
There's no such group that exists currently on vacant land and they're doing guerrilla gardening, let's say. Would they have to go through this process, or what would the just they
only
vacant land
for
and they start planting,
It's only for city controlled properties.
Okay.
So there are a number of abandoned properties that we got through tax foreclosure decades ago that have become gardens. If it's a private piece of land, then someone's doing something like that on it. We have no say unless the property owner is telling us to get them off their property.
Thank you.
Okay, item 3.11, City Ordinance 25-039 is to renew a lease for a community garden at 81 Garfield Avenue. Item 3.12, City Ordinance 25-040 is to renew a lease for a community garden at 447 Martin Luther King Drive for a community garden. Item 3.13, ordinance 25-041 is also renewing a lease for a condominium association, more commonly known as 142 McAdoo Avenue.
Sean, on
Yep.
this one, what are we using 142 McAdoo for?
Can you repeat that question one more time?
What are we using 142 McAdoo for? The lease that we're renewing.
So it's to renew a lease with condominium association with the use of, I don't have it in front of me. What- John, you want?
Community garden, right?
My laptop is down, so I
Right,
can't
I'll
pull it up. Yeah, for some reason, some of the laptops aren't connecting in here.
So it's for a community garden as well?
No,
Well, we're double checking. They're double checking. Sorry.
Adopt a lot. It's adopt a
Adopt a
lot.
lot.
Community garden.
Yeah,
It's community garden.
so, okay, it's an existing garden now?
no,
'Cause it says to renew the lease.
it doesn't look, I know,
From 1996.
There's no garden there.
yeah, this is an empty lot. I've seen.
No, I don't think this is related to a community garden, because don't we usually put the gardens in like city-owned space? This is saying that this condominium association owns this land and we're leasing it from them. On Google Maps, it's an empty lot, so I don't know if we need it for an easement or what it's for.
In the backup, it says leasee must select their activities. They selected vacant lot maintenance, urban farming activities, community engagement activities, environmental ed, green space, and improving flood resilience.
Yeah, I don't think it's a garden there now. Can we take a look at that? maybe?
Council will carry it for the next meeting.
Okay.
Item 3.14, City Ordinance 25-042 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to renew the lease with Ogden's End Community Garden to sponsored by the Riverview Neighborhood Association for the use of Block 5202, Lot 28, more commonly known as 100 Ogden Avenue. And items 3.15 and 16 were touched on earlier. On to our second reading ordinances. Item 4.1, City Ordinance 25-005. This is regarding the pedestrian mall on Provost Street between Bay and Morgan. I believe we're going to carry this to the second meeting in April to give the time for the notice. Is that correct, Corporation Counsel?
Yes, that's correct. We didn't notice for this meeting. We're still trying to work out with the applicant. So if April 26th, I believe, April 23rd.
April 23rd. Okay. And item 4.2.
Yes, 4.2, I spoke to the attorney for the applicant. They did do the closing where they acquired a 25 by 100 lot. It is going to affect the franchise ordinance, so we do need to reintroduce it. So if we could table this one, they're going to send us a new ordinance with the changes and we'll do a first reading at the next meeting.
So I would make the suggestion to table it prior to conducting a public hearing, because that'll basically kill the ordinance, and then we can reintroduce the new one at the following meeting.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Item 4.3, City Ordinance 25-025 is an ordinance amending Ordinance 22-089 that authorized the City of Jersey City to accept from 134 Bay Street LLC 3 theater condominium units within the property located at 155 Bay Street, Jersey City, and authorizing the city to accept 134 Bay Street LLC 1 residential condominium unit at 155 Bay Street. Item 4.4, City Ordinance 25-026 is an ordinance amending Chapter 131, Uniform Construction Codes, requiring applicants for construction permits to demonstrate prior to approvals from certain city officials and agencies. Item 4.5, City Ordinance 25-027 is an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 160, Fees and Charges, Section 3, Public Safety of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Jersey City, to include a fee for the use of the city's de-escalation center.
Hey, John, can we get a copy of like the rental policy, the rental agreement.
Yeah, Councilman, I did see the email from today.
Okay,
We'll get you a follow-up on who's engaged us and what the parameters are, but it's local and county specific police agencies. Basically, any authority that would have to qualify for weapon use. We don't engage any of the federal agencies as they have their own requirements and facilities, but we'll get you a copy of that.
Okay, and item 4.6, City Ordinance 25-028 is an ordinance amending Chapter 160 Fees and Charges and Chapter 175 Food Handling Establishments as regards regulations and permits for mobile food vendors. We have our public requests for hearings. We have 12 speakers. Any questions or comments on petition communications 6.1 through 6.34? There are no officer communications. Any questions or comments on reported directors 8.1 through 8.15? We have our claims and on to our resolutions. But before I do that, I just wanted to let the council know we're going to have to invert the order of business at the council meeting. We're going to approve the resolutions before the claims. We'll make the claims the last item for approval. Normally, we approve the resolutions last, but we'll do the resolutions, then the claims. Right, with that being said, items 10.1 through 10.4 were touched on earlier. Item 10.5, Resolution 25-192 is a resolution authorizing an agreement for procurement card services. Item 10.6, Resolution 25-193 is a resolution recognizing Jolie Ariel Morales for passing the Eagle Board of Review. Item 10.7, Resolution 25-194 is a resolution recognizing May 2025 as Building Safety Month. Items 10.8 through, and we're withdrawing 10.24 all the way to 10.30. That's fantastic. Item 10.30, Resolution 25-217 is a resolution authorizing the settlement of action entitled Cherig. I'm not going to try to pronounce that last name.
Ishlani.
There you go. Versus Charles Tavares. Any questions on that one?
And council, we've sent you the confidential memo. You should have received it last week. Just let me know if you have any other questions.
Okay, and last but not least, item 10.31, City Resolution 25-218 is a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City directing the Planning Board to study an amendment to the Morris Canal redevelopment plan to designate Block 17102, Lot 17 as parkland. That being said, may I have a motion to adjourn at 5:12 PM?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Saleh, seconded by Councilperson Gilmore. All in favor of the motion to adjourn at 5:12 PM. All council members present by acclamation, please say aye. We are out of here at 5:12 PM. Thank you so much, everyone present and everyone watching at home. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Have a great rest of the night. Stay safe.